John Stettin taking you past the wire from the Past the Wire War Room, studio, office, all rolled up in one. And I like to start a lot of these broadcasts with the bugle call, one of my favorite songs, and usually a very happy sound. Today's not so happy. We're going to talk about something today a little disturbing on a lot of different levels. Excuse me. Um, I try not to talk about the things that everybody's talking about. And when I do, I like to put a different perspective on it because that's just who I am and how I am. But today we're going to have to talk about something that a lot of people are talking about and social media was buzzing about, but it just warrants me mentioning because there are so many off the wall opinions and so many off base things being said that I felt a little obligated to weigh in, and I like to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. And Accolade, the racehorse, certainly has no voice in this matter, and his owner Glenn Fagan backtracked a little bit in the most recent developments, and I'll get into all of that momentarily. Accolade is a racehorse that back on June 14th in the fifth race at Delaware was struck several times, apparently with a closed fist, or at least it looked that way on the video, prior to the start of the fifth race. An assistant starter was in the gate with the horse. Daniel Centeno was the rider. The horse was trained by Abel Castellano, coincidentally, Javier Castellano's brother, who is also a former rider. Now, the incident happened on the grandstand side of the racetrack because that's where this particular race started. And I was appalled when I saw it, as many people who saw it were. And, a lot of people weighed in, and a lot of stir came up and erupted on social media, and the Delaware Park Racing Commission conducted an investigation, and during the investigation, they apparently suspended this assistant starter. With or without pay, I don't know. And I'm not one to take away anybody's livelihood or jeopardize anybody's livelihood, but certain actions warrant certain reactions, and I think the reaction in this case was fair. Now, in his defense, a lot of people raised the issue that gate crew is a tough job. I 100% agree with that. It's one of the toughest jobs on a racetrack, and it's no day at the beach handling those animals, especially in close quarters in those starting gates. However, there are protocols in place, and these guys are professionals. Now, this guy in question is supposedly a 20-year experienced guy in the gate. This is certainly not the first horse that acted up. It's certainly not the last. It happens every day. These guys deal with this every day, all the time. Now, that said, a very dear and close friend of mine who worked on the New York Racing Association gate crew as an assistant starter for many years, handled multiple great horses and champions, worked with many riders in the gate, also saw this, and I discussed it with him, and he gave me the proper protocol. He also spoke to some of his peers that worked on the gate at NYRA, and got their take on it, and it was pretty much unanimous. The guy was way out of line. First off, this is something that he should have not been surprised at, okay? What my friend would have done is, when that happens, one quick, firm, open hand slap to the face to get the horse's attention, to get him, cooperative is the first thing you do. Next thing you do, if that doesn't work, is you grab the horse by the ear firmly, try and control him, try and get his attention, try and let him know, what's going on. Third thing you do, and there's always 2, 3, 4 assistant starters behind the gate, ready, waiting for this kind of situation to happen. You get one of those behind the horse to tail the horse and get a hold of him and follow these procedures. Now, to hit a horse 6, 7, 8 times, whatever it was, I didn't count. It was one too many as far as I was concerned, especially with a closed fist. is an exact example of what you do not do and how you do not react. I will say that. I will also say that that type of behavior for a 20-year guy is generally, granted, there are always exceptions, but generally, that is not one-time or first-time behavior. That is more of a sign of habitual behavior. Now, granted, could be isolated incident, could very well be an exception. But interesting, and something that a lot of people, or I haven't really seen anybody talk about, is this particular assistant starter, from what I'm told, is the son of a very well-known, well-liked outrider at Delaware Park. Did that influence the investigation by the Delaware Racing Commission? I don't know, but the whole thing stinks as far as I'm concerned. There definitely was some significant disciplinary action warranted, in my opinion, and in the opinion of most people who know the game that I have spoken to. I really haven't heard any what I would call intelligent or reasonable arguments by knowledgeable horsemen against that, or intelligently advocating what this guy did. To react that way, it's got to be a little bit of rage, got to be a little frustration, and you need to leave that outside the starting gate when you're on a gate crew and handling these racehorses. And, 20-year guys should know that. It was disappointing to see the owner, Glenn Fagan, and even the trainer, Abel Castellano, initially very, very upset, and then subsequently, without any explanation that made a lot of sense to me, totally backtrack, and all of a sudden they were okay with what happened. Be that as it may, that's their choice, their call. If it was my horse, I assure you, I would not be okay with it, and it absolutely would not happen again. And that guy would never be in a stall with one of my horses ever again. There's no question about that. So I wanted to weigh in on that. It's very frustrating. A big, 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 big thumbs down for Delaware Park and the way that it was handled. Thumbs down on the connections as well. A little disappointing that they backtracked, and whatever the reason for that is, well, we'll probably never know, and in my opinion, doesn't even matter, but it is what it is. That said, moving on to something a little bit more bright, we're having our first Pass the Wire contest, so to speak, and giveaway. We brought Nick D'Agostino on board as our Director of Business Development and Media Relations, and Nick is a very knowledgeable guy in the horse racing industry. He's from California, lives in Vegas, a very, very dear friend, knows the game very, very well. And what his primary role is, he's going to have a lot of roles, but what his primary role is to just increase our readership and the viewers of this broadcast, and get Pass the Wire out there to more people. Our growth has been tremendous, more than I could ever have imagined, but there's always room to get, the message out to more people, and we'd like to grow even more. So that's what Nick's going to be working on. And one of the contests we're having, and the first contest we're having is, and this is what you have to do if you want a chance to win. We're giving away a 6-month free subscription to Tracking Trips, and a poster, a large, beautiful poster of Secretariat. It's the one you see behind me above the horseshoe that the great Forgo wore in his 1977 Metropolitan Mile victory, which is on the wall behind me. The picture above that is a picture of Secretariat. That one's signed by Penny Tweedy before she was Penny Chenery. Gift from a very, very dear friend as well. I have another one of those posters that is not signed by her and not in a custom frame like that one is. So we're giving away the poster and the 6-month membership to Tracking Trips. What you need to do is follow at Pass the Wire on Twitter. You need to retweet the announcement about the contest. You need to subscribe to the Pass the Wire newsletter, which is free. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, which you're already watching it. That's also free. So there's really no cost involved. It's a win-win. Do those 3 things: retweet, follow, subscribe to the 2 different things, and we're going to pick one random winner. We've got a couple of more contests and giveaways coming up in the future, so stay tuned for those. And exciting time, because although the classics are over, we've got Delmar, which we're sporting the Delmar hat with the P6K on the side, coming up, and a few days after that, Saratoga coming up. So it's a good time to be a member of Tracking Trips, because we're going to have a lot of trouble trips and horses on our watch list, and different strategies and things that come along with everything else that Pass the Wire offers in regard to news and the latest in horse racing, and providing a little bit of horse racing unscented, and taking you, the people that listen and watch, past the wire. Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed this little broadcast, even though it wasn't a very happy subject, and we'll be back with more, and ciao for now.